Welcome to C2 Primetime, presented by RBC, an engaging monthly show aimed to inspire and inform our C2 community, answering all of today's burning questions and challenges in terms of commerce and creativity. Now this month, I sit down with Annick Beaulieu, Vice President Growth and Partnerships at C2 International, where we discuss the challenges the pandemic has brought for an event like C2 Montreal 2021 edition. We also discuss the new initiative C2 Square, which aims to showcase diverse communities. We also catch up with this year's winners of the 10th edition of the Emerging Entrepreneurs Contest, who have agreed to share their tips and tricks on how to make the big jump. Adapting to the ongoing pandemic, the international business event C2 Montreal went from being 100% digital in 2020 to hybrid in 2021, featuring its new platform C2 Agora. Now, this year's event was hosted at L'Atelier, featuring guest speakers like Mindy Kaling and Lindsey Vonn. Here to discuss is Annick Beaulieu, Vice President Growth and Partnerships at C2 International. Thank you so much for joining us, Annick.
Thanks for being here, Melina.
Now, 2021, what a year it has been.
It's been quite the year.
Now, how was it like, 2 years in a pandemic for C2?
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it was definitely challenging. It's been a lot of crisis management, but it's also been a great story of, passionate humans coming together to define what's next. It's been great to see also the partners show up, willing to take risk, explore, and just figure out what that all means, for us in the business world. To have to talk to clients, to have to innovate in the context of a global pandemic. And then, our industry definitely, like being in the experiential business, was really hardly hit. But at the end of the day, you look at community building, you look at how you're engaging with people, and that's really what we focused on.
And this year's theme was around the word for reinvent, reimagine,
Yep.
repurpose, rebuild, exactly. And we also, C2 started this new initiative called C2 Square. So talk to us about that.
Yeah, well, I think C2 Square was really it was an initiative that was really dear to our CEO, Jacques-André, and then to the whole team. And it's really about, enabling the youth access to C2. So enabling them to connect, to learn, to get inspired, to do business. And I think, we're such in a challenging time right now. The future is going to be defined, by that youth. And we've often been told that, C2 wasn't always very accessible. And that was always on the top of our, back of our mind, like, how do we make that platform accessible? How do we ensure that we keep that innovative spirit that is fueled a lot by the youth? And so C2 Square was really our answer for that, kind of infusing our ecosystem and our community of this innovative thinkers, and
diverse communities.
And diverse communities, female entrepreneurship, different cultural backgrounds, really just opening the gates and making sure that we are being more inclusive as a platform.
Why do you think it was important this year, right, to get it all in before 2022?
Well, I think we're facing challenges as, just in general, as humans. I was going to say as business people, but it's much broader than that. And I think that if we want to push the envelope and, if we want to find different solutions, we need to involve people that will have a different perspective. And, definitely having a diverse community and having people from the youth is very important. So, we just felt that it would also energize the conversation, and it would answer a need from, and something that the business community has asked from us, how do we make sure that we are more inclusive? And so that was our response to it, and I just feel like 2021 was the year to launch it.
Yeah, and we hear that a lot, right? A lot of young people that say, we want to see more people that look like us.
Yeah.
So I think that's also, right?
Yeah, representation, accessibility, inspiration, just creating a dialogue. That's what we're all about at C2, is creating those meaningful connections that are gonna, push progress, have us evolve and just find better ways to live basically on this planet and in business precisely.
Now let's talk about this year's C2 Montreal 2021 edition, the first ever hybrid event,
Yes.
right? And so when we think hybrid, we think, okay, there's going to be some in person and there's going to be some online stuff. So how was that this year? How did that look like?
I mean, it was still a very humbling experience. Like 2020 was one, it was our first digital event. And now with the hybrid, I think we're exploring, right? And this is what it's all about. It's about taking risk, it's about showing up. And that's what we wanted to do. I think, we've explored some things that worked really well. I kept saying to the team, what's our money shot? How do we create that hybrid experience where the outside world or the digital world connects with live? And I think on our stage, we had some really amazing moments. We had Marie-France, the CEO of Novartis, where you really felt that there was something amazing happening when you were live, but also on the digital. Then we explored spatial networking. How do we provide that connection experience in a digital environment, which I think was one of the most challenging things digitally. And then, it was live, our community, even from Montreal, we've stayed very close to our close circle, I think, in the pandemic. But we have a large business community, and it was just great to see those familiar faces, get back in touch with everybody. But it was still, I think, a year of compromise a little bit. Like, I don't think we are exactly where our vision of hybrid, but we definitely tested some amazing stuff, And I think after where we're at now is like, how do we fully leverage that notion of digital? How do we really leverage what live is for? And then how do we build those bridging moments or those combined experiences that are going to be meaningful for every audience?
Now, are we thinking that we're going to keep this sort of hybrid model next year, or we just don't know yet?
For sure. I think, the events industry was slow at digitalizing itself. I think we won't go back, right? Like, there are things right now that people accept. And when you look at accessibility, when you look at flexibility, there are things from the online perspective that are just unbeatable, and we still want to double down on that and make it even more extraordinary. But then we also have a very strong live in-person DNA.
Yeah, we're humans. We want that, human connection. Yeah.
So it's about both. It's about, continuing to test and to explore, and continuing to have partners that are willing to do it with us.
I love it. Now, we also launched this new platform called C2 Agora. Now, can you speak to us about that? Why this platform? Why now? I know we're talking a lot about online. Was that really, the reason?
I think C2 Agora has been kind of our answer to environment design in the live. When we looked at what was available out there in terms of event platform, we just felt like we didn't have something that was truly unique to the C2 DNA, that was UX that we were comfortable with, and that could really allow us to fully explore our creative spirit. And so Agora was like, okay, if we were to create a platform where, the best of entertainment meets the best of retail, meets the best of event, what would it look like? And then how do we design experiences within this platform to really be, getting people to connect, to interact with one another, with the content? It was V1, right? So once again, humbling, but still some really good things in there, like great partner functions, great chat, the spatial I was talking about. And I guess this is also us kind of looking at what it means to convene in the digital world in 2021, but moving forward, we said it won't go away. So this was basically us creating the experience that we feel is going to enable our creativity moving forward.
Yeah, it's sort of like the pivot that we've all been saying, right? We need to pivot, right? When we're talking to businesses and leaders all year, we said we have to pivot. And so I think for C2, this is one way as well, right?
Yeah,
Agora,
one of the pivots.
Yeah, one of the many pivots.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, we are approaching the end of the new year.
Yes.
What would you tell businesses, leaders, who are, coming to terms with the end of the year? What is to come for 2022 for these people?
I don't think if I'm going to play the crystal ball prediction game, but one thing that's been great is I think 2020, 2021 really saw people coming together to do some creative problem solving. I hope it doesn't take a pandemic for us to do it again. I think that spirit of risk-taking, exploration, strong partnerships, trial and error, just pushing forward to drive something better. I hope that we keep some of those reflexes or, some of the spirit and mindset moving into the next years. And I really hope that there's a bit more stability on the horizon, honestly.
Now, changing gear to C2 International, the last 18-20 months, what's that been like? What are the changes like for C2 International?
I mean, we've seen a lot of positive through all the adversity. We worked with amazing brands to bring communities together. It's been hard sometimes because up until now, there's still a lot of instability as to can we convene? How many people can convene live? So I think, we've really developed our chops in terms of digital expertise, whether, being storytelling, convening, the event platform Agora that we spoke about. So these are really there to stay, and I think they've really enriched our experience. But it's been challenging, but we see it now that we're back. We're back in being live. I think people are excited to meet in person, and when you start combining those two expertise, I just feel that it's going to be magical, and we have amazing projects with great companies in the US, in France. We're unveiling some really amazing spaces in Paris. So there's going to be a lot of exciting stuff moving into 2022 as well.
Yeah, so like you're saying, internationally, everyone wants to reconvene and see each other again and touch each other.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, but just, get that FaceTime, get, that connection. And that's what we're all about at C2 International, right? It's like leveraging the power of human connection to drive progress. And there's many ways to engage communities, but there's still a reason for meeting live. It still creates an amazing engagement moment and peak buzz. And, when you start combining that with a strong digital expertise, then, it's just limitless.
Yeah, so I like what you're saying. It's not that we necessarily want to remove digital, it's that we want to incorporate it to our live events.
Exact. We want to build longer term engagement with communities. We want to leverage different platforms. We want to tell stories in different ways, and we want to touch the human in different ways. And I think, to do that in the modern world means, digital, live, hybrid, all of it.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For the past 10 years, Claudine and Stephen Bronfman have been supporting the next generation of Quebec entrepreneurs with the famous C2 Montreal Emerging Entrepreneurs Contest. Now this year, I am pleased to present the lucky winners who have agreed to share their entrepreneurial journey. Take a look at their C2 Vox Pop.
At Plaque, we use AI to better predict and prevent heart attacks and strokes, so we're directly part of this change. Right now, in the healthcare system, it's a one diagnosis fits all category. So as long as patients meet a certain criteria, they then get the particular treatment option. What we now know, or probably have known for a long time, is that patients are unique, and that means in terms of their biology and their backgrounds and experiences. Using AI gives us the opportunity to leverage all of that information, and I'm also referring to medical images, patient demographics, and clinical information to build a more precision medicine or personalized focus for healthcare when it comes to vascular disease. And in doing this, we're battling some of the most dangerous diseases or events known to humankind, which are heart attacks and strokes.
For instance, my company Ava is on a mission to help millions of people who would like to hear better, especially in noisy environment, where the existing hearing assistant devices fail because they are not able to focus only on the relevant sounds, but instead they amplify the desired sounds and noises equally. Through monitoring brain and biosignals, Ava's bionic ear allows everyone to select what they want to hear. We will eventually change the way we interact with all of our devices, thus enhancing our capabilities as humans.
So our company, Kratos, deals with helping people who suffer from musculoskeletal conditions. And today that affects about 1 in 3 Canadians, 20% of them being rural, who may not have access to a physiotherapist. So our platform is fully digital. The people we help can do it from the comfort of their home, and communication with the physio is continuous. because those that are lucky enough to actually be able to go and afford a clinic and go to the clinic are usually given a piece of paper and told good luck, see you next time if you want to. And we want to continue that continuous relationship with the physiotherapists so that people can learn to educate themselves as well and self-manage and eventually no longer need a physiotherapist and be fully independent, as well as increasing their quality of life.
Like so many other startups, our biggest challenge has been to get the necessary financial support to help our business to scale and to thrive. Having said that, we believe our persistence in doing good to create a better sounding future will eventually find its way to success.
So the biggest challenge for me and my co-founders is that we're not medical professionals. I have a business background. My two co-founders vary between a more tech background and a more business background as well. And so we had a clear idea of how we wanted to approach a certain problem with physiotherapy, but of course we didn't necessarily have the physiotherapy expertise to address it, which is why we approached our two great advisors who are PhDs in physiotherapy to help us with the more medical and therapeutic side of our solution.
So one of the biggest challenges starting off was finding the right team to build such a dynamic product. And we're lucky now to be supported by a lot of cardiovascular researchers, AI engineers, data scientists, all with the dream to now reduce the number of heart attacks and strokes around the world.
Just go for it. One of, I would say, almost like a regret is waiting a little bit too long for the perfect time to go into entrepreneurship. Waiting for the perfect idea, waiting to wake up one morning with an aha moment, which very seldom ever happens. If you want to be an entrepreneur, start writing down problems you see around you. Reach out to the right people. It's very easy to reach out to people on LinkedIn and get their feedback. If you have a day job, that shouldn't stop you. Don't just relax, every day after your day job, but start working towards your dream of entrepreneurship. And before you know it, you'll have something tangible that you can pursue, and that'll make you very happy.
So that being said, my advice would be to find the right people early on. Know what your product is, what it's going to look like when it's in the market, and strategize as best as you can. And this is because it takes a long time to find the right people. Not just people with the right academic background, for example, but also people that you know that you can work well with.
So my humble advice would be to fall in love with the problem, not the technology. We entrepreneurs sometimes tend to fall in love with our coolest on earth technology without even making sure that our technology is solving a real problem. So if your technology failed and you're still solving a real viable problem, you can still find alternative solutions. But if your technology fails and the problem you're solving is not viable, in other words, people do not badly need that, the probability of failure would be high and pivoting would be very costly. So that's why we should fall in love with the problem, not the technology.
In the spirit of this year's C2 theme, here's a list of what to read, watch, and listen in order to get re-inspired just in time for the holiday season. Digital Body Language, How to Build Trust and Connection No Matter the Distance by Erica Dhawan. She's a globally recognized leadership expert and keynote speaker who helps organizations and leaders innovate faster and further together. The Wall Street Journal bestseller will help you to communicate and to connect in this new hybrid work world. Next up, you can watch My Name is Polly Murray, directed by Julie Cohen and Betsy West, a documentary about the trailblazing LGBTQ and civil rights activist, which also premiered at this year's Sundance Festival. The film follows the history of Murray, a gender non-conforming scholar and ordained minister who fought for the rights of people of color, women, and the queer community. And the movie is also available on Amazon Prime. And last but not least, you can listen to the podcast How I Built This by Guy Raz, who shares the stories behind some of the biggest companies around the world and the movements they've built. Definitely inspirational and worth a listen. This concludes a very wild but inspiring 2021. Thank you so much for watching this month's C2 Primetime. And don't forget to check out our website, c2montreal.com, for all the key takeaways of this year's 10th edition. And follow us on social media for all the latest news and announcements regarding C2 Montreal 2022. Have a wonderful and happy holiday season. Take care. Bye.